Hi everyone, welcome to multimedia. I will adjust a couple things. Here we go. Multimedia. Digital photography, graphics to make a point, talking about the size of files, especially when you get into video, large pictures, how that affects the computer. How do we store these, manage them, a little bit about data compression. Uses and impact. Multimedia. Computers used to be text-based, and it was a big move when we got a graphical user interface. And of course now that's advanced where everybody assumes it's graphical and we have the user interface. And then we were able to include into this, first we were able to move the text, and then we got to where we were able to use audio with the computer in terms of sound, and of course then movies and all kinds of graphics. So we have all kinds of media that we use. Pictures. Let's start off with right here, graphics, charts, images. We can sell a point, like here if you have a chart and you're charting one thing and then you're charting another thing, and then you can prove where they intersect, or you can show a trend. It's really commonplace. Let's say we have this chart, and so much of it is represented here, and then so much is the blue, and then we have the red. How much of a whole, a pie chart. For people to remember a point, they'll remember it much better if it can be displayed in a picture, a chart, a graph, some kind of image. We started recently being able to capture digital images. So the image is going to be represented digitally, which means what? What do I mean when I say digital? Digital means bits, ones and zeros, representing something. Maybe this representing one dot, maybe on the screen or on the picture or whatever. A little more of that coming up. Digital camera devices, smartphone and tablets can capture, video cameras can capture a digital image besides video, in just a regular digital camera. Now people would say, well, why don't everybody just use their phone? Well, you know, if you're going to be doing photography, let's say as a side business or whatever, you want to have a very good digital camera for lots of reasons, in order to get good shots. And then this huge advantage nowadays, we can take the pictures and look at them right away. If they're no good, we can get rid of them. Otherwise, we can keep them. The next way, we can use a scanner. You know, a lot of scanners are like flatbed scanners, and then you can just take your picture, lay it in there, close the lid, and it'll scan it and send a digital image to your computer. There's scanners in which you can lay a whole pile of papers on, and it'll just run them through and scan them. You can scan pictures into a, what we'll talk about, into a bitmapped image. And you can do that in different formats, different types of images. One way a lot of people scan for nowadays is into a PDF. You got some written work or some pictures, hand drawings, you need to get them in digitally just to transfer them or to edit them. So you can scan them into a PDF, and then that PDF can be stored on a computer. Now, we need to understand a couple key points between what you're scanning. Alright, here we go. Raster scanning is bitmapped. They use dots to represent the picture. Okay, a whole bunch of dots to represent the picture. So, pixels. And you've heard of the term megapixel, maybe rating for a camera. So you should define that, pixels, the number of dots being used. Typically, higher the better. There's a point to where it may not be relevant depending on where you're going to use the picture. Then you can take that and use some imaging editing software. A very popular one is Adobe. And they make a whole suite of software. Photoshop and Illustrator are the two main ones, but they have a variety. And then in that software, it allows you to figure out what you're going to do with the image. If you're going to put it on a website, you can store it differently than if you're going to take that image out and print it. Big difference. And the number of pixels, it makes a difference. Okay. The other type are vector graphics. These are called illustration programs. Adobe makes a program called Illustrator. I think I mentioned it up here. This uses vectors to make the picture. They use dots and lines, curves, and connects them to make the picture. Now, the big difference here lies in vector graphics. If you resize the picture, it stays perfect because it just redoes the algorithms where things are connected. If you take a bitmapped picture and made it bigger, it might get grainier as you don't increase the number of bits. So as you move them further apart, you start to see it being more grainier. This works great for logos, billboards, any type of architectural designs and so forth of buildings. You can resize them and it looks perfect. This obviously works very good for just images like pictures, taking a picture of something or a picture of a person and so forth. How do we share? How do we get these images to other people? Electronically, email, online services, put them on your website. There's a variety of ways of doing that. If they're very big, you might not be able to email them. It might take some time, but you can upload them to a service and somebody can download them. You can actually have your own website and put them on there. A lot of people share pictures nowadays using some type of social media. Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. And there's other ones, Snapchat, and so forth. Alright? If you're going to print the images, okay, you can use your local printer or you can send them to an online service like Shutterfly. If you're going to print, you want them to be at a high resolution. Okay? You want them to be at a higher resolution. If you're going to put them on the web, they don't have to be as a high resolution. Which is really important because on the web, you don't want it slow when they download. On a picture, you want the picture as good looking as you can, so higher resolution. For example, Shutterfly, they will download the entire picture, whatever pixels you have it at. So they'll preserve the quality of the picture when they produce your picture and then mail it to you. What can we use it for? Well, people sell things on eBay and so forth. Promotions of an idea, we talked about that. Just family, social media, historical purpose. There are literally probably 1,000 different ways you can use an image and so forth. So you can give some more. Desktop publishing is the idea of how you organize the information on a page to publish it. And nowadays you may talk about publishing the page and printing it, or publishing a page and just distributing it some way online, like an online newspaper maybe. So desktop publishing allows you to create the layout, and then you just fill the layout in with the text and the pictures and so forth. There are a lot of key things to desktop publishing in terms of making it look right and how you make somebody read and flow through the document. Okay? Performance issues with images and files. To get a really good picture, it takes a lot of bits. Those bits then need to be moved, like if you're going to send them to somebody, and stored. So the higher the quality, the more bits it takes to represent it. So the size of the files can become rather large. Okay? If you're taking lots of pictures on your, let's just say your camera, you need to make sure you look at the options of backing them up. Let's say your phone. Phone's a great example. For example, phones will allow you, when you plug them in to charge, and also they'll check to make sure you're on Wi-Fi, so you're not using your data plan. They'll upload the files to a service in the cloud. So whether it be iCloud or Google Drive or wherever, if you're going to download your Dropbox at a certain time. But you want to remember to manage your files if you want to keep those images. And if the free part of the service goes away, then you just have to pay for the storage of those. The other option is you can take them and store them on some device of your own, maybe a DVD or on a local hard drive. That's getting harder, doing it from your devices, but you can do that. But you got to be aware of what pictures you're going to keep. All right, that's it.